Running a mystery. So I struggled with riddles because of how many possible answers there are, at least until you know for sure what the intended answer is. As far as running mysteries go at the table, I push for a combo of letting your players be brilliant while also creating mystery, suspense, and tension with breadcrumbs and hooks along the way. Here are my general guidelines for running mysteries, especially puzzles. 1. Provide/be open to multiple ways to win. Winning isn't the same as answering the puzzle or solving the mystery. Solving it is a way to win, but if the players aren't inclined that way, there has to be more possibilities, because staring at a problem and banging your head against it can be tiresome. You don't want to be giving your players an exam problem, right? So I prepare a few avenues that the players can take. I don't need to go super in depth with this, because that's a lot of prep. Just a few possible ways that they could win, usually just a few words. This also helps me open my mind and let go of wanting one path in particular. They can choose to do whatever they want, and I'll roll with it. To add on to this winning concept, I want the win to be separate from the mystery or puzzle. For example, let's say the players need to save the villagers. There's a wall they can't seem to go through. There may be a specific spell you have to cast at a specific place in order to gain access to the trials. However, they decide not to do that, and instead try to find a local, a secret cultist, who can be buttered up to give them access. That's a way through the puzzle that may get them to what they want, the villagers, without having to solve the puzzle itself. 2. Create completion bars, also referred to as clocks. This is a concept I love from games like Blades in the Dark. Essentially, with the multiple paths to victory, you set up bars that players can advance with everything they do. Every successful action in one path advances that bar, and they might advance different bars at different times. But this way, everything they do contributes to the overall objective. If you want to outline it, you can. I usually keep it fairly loose though, in case big things change. 3. Add intrigue moments that allow your players to breathe, so they're not 100% focused on the tasks. I'm not saying
distract your players so they can't think.
I say this because having a fun thing to think about for a few moments allows your brain to rest, so you can come back refreshed. Kind of like taking a 5-minute break from work or a school assignment. This can take the form of tying in characters that mean something to the players, whether they know it or not. It can also be a way to introduce more hooks, more pathways to victory, or it can provide more information while they're doing the tasks. Like if the enemy they bribed tells them some key information about the ritual or the leaders of the cult. Finally, throw obstacles at them. Not just a rolling boulder or a spike trap, but find the perfect things that might give them pause. Because along the way, as the completion bar is filling up, and the players see their plans get closer and closer to the finish line, that's when things are most tense. And that's when you throw a curveball. So they have to decide if they're willing to take the risk to get the perfect ending they want. For example, say the players completed every task and have found the villagers, but one of the PCs notices that her brother isn't here. The PC asks the villagers, and one of them informs her that her brother was taken to be initiated and inducted as a higher ranking member of the cult. At this point, the PCs can win by getting the villagers out. But what about the brother? Does our conflicted PC leave her brother behind for a secured victory? Or do they wade into the risks of further infiltration because she loves him? So now that we have the outline, let's go with an example. I'll be using a flabbergasted game that I ran on stream, so if you want to reference that, I'll put the link below. I start by creating a situation that's very open-ended but cryptic, like a riddle. In this case, a quest giver who asks for
something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue.
In this particular campaign, I also wanted this to pay homage to the city of Porto. As far as this adventure is concerned, the mystery is the riddle. The win is to obtain the location, the next place they have to go. Now the characters can discuss what they believe the answer is. They can start maneuvering toward potential ideas. Now it's very important for you as a GM to listen to all of this, because they might be right, especially if something they say sounds cooler than what you had in mind. At this point, I essentially create a completion bar. The more tasks they achieve in the path, the closer they get to accomplishing the goal. Logan immediately sprung into action, pickpocketing the Duke, looking for something borrowed.
I pull out a deck of cards and I start kind of doing like a shuffle and a twist and a turn. I'm not looking at necessarily finding his card. I'm looking at grabbing whatever's in his pocket.
He succeeded. We are on our way. When he returned to the group, he returned to their discussion, whether or not it was one thing that would encompass all the criteria or multiple things that would suffice. Now, as a GM, I stepped in here because I knew that that question could result in some issues. I wanted the players to know that there are multiple possible answers here.
The others are contemplating this and And you hear some people settle on trying to figure out one thing, while others are thinking, we just get one old thing, one new thing, one borrowed thing, one blue thing, real fast.
In spite of this quest, I threw in a little bit of intrigue. There's chaos in this hall already that they've noticed. The Duke was already stressed and not really engaged in this competition. We learn that this is because of the wedding tomorrow for his son. Logan's pickpocketing was perfect because he didn't just get a piece of lint or a checkbook. Though, to be fair, a checkbook would be pretty amazing for a mystery. I'll have to keep that in mind. But it was a scribbled note saying, I can't find her. Now that could mean a lot of things, but with the impending wedding, the her that is being referred to here could be the bride-to-be. I seeded this early because I wanted them to have a little moral quandary. There's a hook here. So they have the task at hand, while they wonder if perhaps this might aid them on their quest. I sneakily create a second completion bar. This is a second way to win. But speaking of ways to win, why don't you like, subscribe, leave a comment? It's another way. I'm just kidding. It just really helps me out. But back to the video. Now they have two leads. Find the answer to the riddle and figure out the note. Now en route, Mungo is caught up in something. Just a little flavor moment.
There's a group of women. One of them makes eye contact. It's the sort of eye contact that Mungo wishes Bunny would give him.
Yes, and Mungo is immediately distracted by this, turns to sort of like smile at them, and then it just collides with someone on a bicycle.
But I took the opportunity for there to be a little more potential intrigue by letting the person who runs into Mungo be someone important with a roll of the die. And the result, well, at this point in the game, they don't know this, but this is the son of the Duke.
And I'm gonna be late now because of you.
Well, I assume that if you would like to make it to your appointment on time, you best get going.
And now with this interaction, they've made an enemy. Vinny, the fixer who knows most of the underground stuff, finds their old friend, a forger, who is an expert on handwriting. Of course, this seems pretty convenient, but that's what happens with the scene queue. Kind of like having a special contact and having a high enough roll so that they can help. This handwriting expert identifies the writer as the Duke's son and lets the party know that this son is often a target for forgery because he spends money so frivolously. It's easy to overlook grand purchases amongst piles and piles of luxurious spending. They learn this spending is to flaunt his status and for women. Apparently, relationships have never been a hindrance for him when it comes to chasing more and more and more. With this info, they make more progress in the completion of my second sneaky completion bar. They head to a cathedral with the knowledge of possibly gathering something borrowed, something old, and something blue. Now I add a little bit more progress to my sneaky second completion bar, because their choice of a church plays right into the issue of the bride-to-be, Sophia. When they enter,
You do hear crying, and it sounds like she's praying in a very pleading voice. Please, I don't want to do this. I'd rather die than marry that man.
Now, not to say that this would cause any player to veer away from the original path, but I did provide some compelling evidence for them to help her. She's crying. She's stuck in a situation with someone she doesn't love. Someone that goes gallivanting with many romantic partners. Now, I'm still holding on to my initial completion bar, but I kind of feel like they're more focused on the second one right now. They decide to help Sophia. They comfort her and tell her that they will assist. They want to do what they can, but they have to remember this competition. Now, here's a big peek behind the curtain. Depending on how they handle the situation, the sneaky second completion bar can also get them what they want. There's first completion, there's second completion, but there's also a third true ending, if you will, depending on how they solve the problem and depending on how much pain they're willing to take on.
If you can find out where you need to go, I might be able to get you there quickly.
They ask Sophia for help with the first task, the first completion bar. A little quid pro quo, and she sends them to the bookstore. Once they get there, they meet Lucas, the man that Sophia actually wants to be with. They learn that the wedding is because of the Duke. The Duke's son, Tomas, is lecherous, and the Duke wants Tomas to settle down. Tomas intends to keep doing what he wants to do, regardless. Sophia just happened to be seen by the son and by the Duke, and was caught in the crossfire. So the players hatch a plan.
So, Perhaps we just need to create another situation where Tomas is socializing with another poor young woman and with the Duke as a witness.
They set up plans for Sophia and her love to leave. At this point, the second completion bar is so close to being finished. They get to the bar and see the Duke's son. Tomas is partying, and he sends someone to go get some girls. Logan splits off to gather the Duke, and with the news of a potential mate, gets the goal, the next location that they have to head to, Sevilla. Mungo and Vinny start eavesdropping when they see the girls that have been brought back. Here we have a little backstory, a little rewind. The less confident and shy Mungo joined this competition because he wants the attention of his longtime love, Bunny. So, who should be among the ladies that have been brought back? Who should be the one that the Duke's son has his eyes on for maximum drama?
There might be a little smile on your face, but it drops when you realize the third woman is someone that you are very familiar with. It's Bunny.
I think I'm like probably I'm drinking water at the moment. I just sort of like my mouth opens and just water just dribbles. It's not even a spit take. It's just like my jaw.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus, Mungo.
Like, sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, you look like you see a ghost.
Well, not a ghost exactly. Just someone I'm acquainted with.
Look behind, just like the girls that just came in.
No, I don't want her to notice I'm looking.
One of them? Do you know one of them?
Yes, that is Lady Beatrice Fairbanks, aka Bunny, aka a woman that I have a romantic interest in somewhat. I'm sort of in love with her.
As they both see her walk in, as they both see him walking to her, as Logan brings in the Duke, we have a problem. We have tension. We have a potential easy victory here, if they want Mungo to suffer. But we risk the easy for the best, for the true end.
Maybe she would be better off with not dancing with you, if that's what she wants, obviously.
He does step away from her and towards you. You see the anger in his eyes. Vinny, you would note that he's balling up his fist.
I just immediately, reach out to his clenched fist and just caress it just a little bit.
And he looks over at you and he smiles and he says, "Oh, you want in on some of this action?"
Logan brings the Duke in.
Yeah, Vinny dancing with Tomas.
Oopsies. Looks like you're getting married to Thomas, Vinny.
All part of the plan.
And now Vinny's engaged with the Duke's son. And come wedding time,
At the day of the wedding, leaves Thomas at the altar.
Oh boy.
Great.
the second completion bar is complete. To reward the group for their ingenuity, I did have something planned for the wedding. For the ultimate rub-ins, and the ultimate reward for the team in completing their task.
I might be able to get you there quickly.
When Sophia and Tomas were set to embark on their honeymoon after the wedding, they were going to head off across Europe, and they were going to begin that with a little trip in a hot air balloon. So with all the conditions cleared, Logan and Mungo sat waiting in said hot air balloon for Vinny in a wedding dress to arrive so they can all flee together, with now a potential powerful enemy. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. It really helps me out. But until next time, wherever you are, whenever it happens to be, I hope y'all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening.